Rancho del Lago 2021, and this is CheryLynn. Hi, welcome back. Uh, my last video was right after the election, and I started talking a little bit about homesteading as an option for people who had concern about what was happening in not just the U.S., but the world, actually. Uh, it just seems to be everything is in a total upheaval. And some people, like me, um, want to be prepared or be in a position of starting to prepare to take care of themselves and their families, even if everything else around them just kind of goes to shit. Excuse me. So, since that, and that's only been a couple of days ago, I have been, oddly, contacted by people that know me, that know that I moved here 6.5 years ago, that know I have just a little bit of property, but, more than what my house takes up, and have actually asked me, hey, just in case, do you have room for, a 20-foot or a 30-foot home, not mobile home, you know what I'm talking about, RV, because I think I might want to come to Mexico. Well, I started thinking about it, and one of my neighbors actually is doing that. I'm going to show you some pictures and tell you a little bit about my thoughts on that in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, if you enjoy or find useful the content that I bring you, I would ask you to please subscribe, because that really helps the channel and it means a lot to me. Now, where I live, I found this property. Well, someone I knew found the property and told me to go see it 7 years ago. And this property was actually, they do everything here in square meters and hectares and that kind of thing, instead of square yards and that, like the odd US does. So what I have here, depending on which way you want to look at it, is either slightly over 1,500 square meters or about a third of an acre. I know I've expressed that before when we were talking about the animals and, how I've got everything sectioned up and all of that good stuff. But I do have room, if I did some moving around, for one smaller motorhome and maybe as much as 3 larger RVs if I made some modifications. I would have to reduce the size of my goat herd and move the goats to a different spot, but this could all be done relatively quickly and relatively in short order with a little bit of investment, but nonetheless. So I'm thinking about it because people have asked me about it. I know you have some room down there. Would you have room for me if I decided to come to Mexico? Because I'm totally freaked about what is likely to happen where I am. So anyway, I just want to let you know that I do have a thought process going on that topic, and that there is potential. And that leads me to why I brought this up. Because anybody who has some land can offer that kind of assistance to other people who may want to relocate. We'll say it that way. But if anyone is thinking along those lines, I will tell you right now, that better be something that you can take action on fairly quickly, for several reasons. One reason is because every January, the criteria is increased, the financial criteria for getting a visa to live in Mexico. As an example, when I got mine, which was in 2018, I believe it was somewhere around $2,700 a month, maybe less, maybe $2,300 a month income that you had to prove, or X number of dollars of savings. It has doubled, maybe even more than doubled between then and now. And that's, 6 years. In that 6 years. So it's over, I think, $4,400 a month for a single person now. And I don't even know what the savings amount is. And this is for a temporal, not a permanente. So that's how I came in. 4 years on a temporal, and then it automatically converts with only a fee, no more financial need to prove anything, and then you get a permanente visa, and that's it. You are a visa holder then, going forward forever. So I would say if you have any desire, I hate to say fear, but sometimes it's fear driven, any thought process that you might want to leave, there are things that you need to do immediately. If you don't already have a valid passport, get one. Even if you're not thinking about moving, get one, because it will afford you the opportunity, if the need arises, for you to be able to go somewhere else. Who knows where might be a good place? I don't know. But at least then you're prepared. If you are in debt, you've got a couple of choices. One, if you think you're going to leave and you're never going to come back, there's always the option of walking away from it. Two, if it's small and you can, get it paid off and away from you so you never have to look at debt again. But you got to get rid of it. You've got to somehow get rid of that debt. Be debt-free. If you've got a home, the market is still up. It won't be for long. But if you've got a home, now is the time to put it up for sale. Now, this is just my opinion, okay? Now is the time to put it up for sale to get the largest dollar amount for it, so that you have the most that you can possibly have to work with for wherever you decide to go, if you decide to go somewhere. Okay, so you say, well, what if I sell my house and I'm still here, and then I can't buy anything and rent is so high? Well, those are things you have to weigh. How quickly do you want to move? How risky can you be with your potential home value? Can you sit there and wait till it's at 75% of what it's worth now, or 50% of what it's worth now? Those are things you have to think about. You have to do the math. Nobody can do that for you unless you hire an accountant. Okay, so let's say you're at a point where, yes, you decided, yes, you've got everything paid off, yes, you've decided to sell off everything and put your house up for sale, and you're going to move somewhere. Do you even have a clue where? Do you know where you want to go? Mexico, because it borders on the U.S., is an option. Canada might be an option. I don't know. I don't know how that works. They may be full. Canada's not doing so great right now either. So who knows? But if you want to go maybe overseas or further down into South America, whatever you think you might want to do your homework. Please check. See where you want to be. What kind of lifestyle do you want there? Do you want to live in town, in a little place that's wall to wall to your neighbors? Do you want to have some space and live out where you have a little bit of property? Are you going to have a car? Do you want to be able to walk places? You have to think about a whole lot of things. Now, I'm talking to you about this in this manner because when I first came here, I was not planning on being a homesteader. I was planning on having a place to live where I had a little space. I didn't necessarily want to be wall to wall with my neighbors, Maybe I had a good view. Maybe I had, a little bit of yard around me so that my cats and a dog or whatever, had no idea what it was going to involve or evolve into. But that was my goal. That was my dream. I wanted to just be able to come here and write and do photography and paint. And then it changed, and here I am homesteading. But the fact of having some land that you can do with what you want, you can become self-sustaining. You can offer assistance to friends, family, neighbors. You can form food co-ops and do trading and bartering. Again, we're not on a survivalist level here. We are on a small, self-sustaining community level here. And sometimes that's enough to get you through the hard times. Maybe the hard times will not be as hard as we anticipate, although right now we're anticipating great difficulty with the policies of the new administration that are planned. Maybe they won't be as long as you fear or you are concerned about. Maybe you decide to just stay where you are and ride through it, and that's fine too, because what I'm talking and who I'm talking to are the people who have been toying with the idea of leaving, of going someplace new, of experiencing new cultures, and maybe of homesteading, maybe of having a little property and doing something they've thought about all their lives, but were tied into jobs and small children families and all of that good stuff that might now be changing. So, again, we've got to get back to the basics. Pay off your debt, get rid of all of the things that hold you down, all of the stuff. Something is particularly special to you, that's fine. One thing, let me also just share this with you. Some people move here to Mexico and bring lots of valuables. I'm going to say this from experience and from the point of view of someone who is no longer encumbered by that stuff. Let me specifically say, fancy schmancy cars are going to get beat to hell here. Lots of jewelry and flashy stuff only attracts the attention of people you don't want to attract and puts you in a potentially precarious position. I don't mean live under the radar, but I do mean anything that's ostentatious, leave it behind. Okay? That's the best way for me to just say it. Live simply. If you want to live simply, this is a good place for you. If you want to live lavishly with all of the bells and whistles and frills, may not be so good. But there may be other places that are suited for you. But here we are, homesteading, and I'm contemplating how to possibly rearrange things to be able to move people in. I'm going to take a little walk down our little access road to my neighbor here and just give you a quick little look of how they have put a couple of motorhomes, RVs, on one of their lots. The RVs are owned by the people who live in them, but so they are technically just renting out the spaces. But how it can work here. And maybe that's an idea for you. Maybe you want to buy some land and turn it into a little RV park. Or we do have one of those on the far west side of the lake, which, by the way, I did want to explain to you. Lake Chapala is huge. Very, very big. Well, I say very, very. I think it's like 8 miles wide and, I don't know, at least 16 miles end to end, maybe even up to 25. I'm not even sure, but it's big. And the section that I live in, if you kind of cut it in half, because it's long like this, east and west, it's long and narrower. So if you cut it in half this way, the northwest shoreline is the most populated with expats. This area is between where we live, where most of us live, is between the lake shore and the mountains, and it's a very narrow strip. So land is not really cheap here because it's in high demand. There are many other places in Mexico that you can go, and maybe even other places around this lake that aren't in that quadrant, that you can find land less expensive. But it is so expensive here because it's got the amenities that expats look for. You know, easy shopping, lots of restaurants, very quick access to Guadalajara, where the airport is, etc. If it's on other parts of the lake, you have much more of a drive to get to any of that. So if you are considering looking in this area for land, the sooner the better, because it just keeps going higher. If you are considering building on that land, cost of construction continues to go up. Both labor and materials every year just gets more expensive. I would act quickly if it's something that you are very interested in doing. Here we are walking down the little access road behind my house. The green one on the right is my neighbor's house, and then this is a lot owned by their family. There are two RVs here. They've put in sidewalks and concrete paths for them. One has the rooftop over it. They've done landscaping and fencing. It's quite lovely. And there's nothing behind them, between them and the lake, just as with me, except cornfields and a beautiful view. This lot will be available for sale. It is for sale by owner, and the owner is my neighbor. So I think we've covered everything I wanted to cover for today. I wanted to give you a little bit of information about what you should be thinking about if it's crossed your mind to make an exit and try someplace new. I wanted to give you a little bit of information about how to prepare, those kinds of things, to start thinking of what you have to do. And if you're coming into Mexico just as a tourist, you have a limited amount of time. If you apply first for a visa at the consulate closest to you in the US, you can do step one of getting a temporal or permanente visa, and you do step two after you arrive here. But that has to be done in advance as well. And many of the consulates you need to make an appointment in advance for. So all I'm trying to impress upon you is that if this is something you have seriously considered, there are steps that you have to take. You can't just rush into something that other people require things from you to be able to accomplish for you. So I hope you've found this interesting. Please share with your friends if you have friends who might be thinking along the same lines as you. Leave me comments. I do my best to answer everyone who comments, and some people have had some very interesting questions. And when you especially enjoy one of my videos, press like. It makes me smile. Thank you very much for being here again. Watch for the next video coming up soon. I'll be addressing more issues about moving, especially moving here, and taking up the homesteading kind of lifestyle. And I'd love to have you as my neighbor. So have a great day, and thanks for watching.